Okay, last time we had our problem solving in terms of the first law of motion or translational equilibrium. So these next examples will be about the law of acceleration or the second law of motion. An airboat with a mass of 3.5 times 10 to the power of um, 2 kilograms, including the passenger, has an engine that produces a net horizontal force of 7.70 times 10 to the power of 2 Newton, after accounting for the forces of resistance. Find the acceleration of the airboat. Starting from rest, what is the speed of the airboat? So basically, we have, let's draw our free body diagram. So we have a boat. Wait, red pala, red. So, naro tayo boat. For example, boat daw ni. Ayan. For example, boat. And the mass of that boat is 3.50 times 10 to the power of 2 kilograms. So we have given of mass, which is 3.50 times 10 to the power of 2 kilograms, or that is just basically 350 kilograms, including the passenger. So that is the mass of everything of our everything dito sa boat, kasali na yung passenger. Next, there is a net horizontal force. So ibig sabihin, may net force na tayo. So net force na yan. So that is our Fn. Hindi siya Fn. Net, yan pala, summation of F net pala yan. Hindi Fn kasi Fn is normal force. So Fn, which is 7.70 times 10 to the power of 2 Newton. This force is already the net force accounting for the force of resistance. So ibig sabihin, wala nang force due to, wala nang force of resistance dito. Net na yan, net horizontal force naman. Okay, so meron tayong time of 5.45 seconds. So mula dito hanggang dito, of course, aabot na dito yung ating boat later. The time taken is 5.45 seconds. So after some time, of course, aabot na dito yung boat natin. For example, aabot na dito ang boat. Okay, so let us identify what are the required variables for this problem. First required is find the acceleration. So hahanapin natin na yun si acceleration. Yan. Next, what is the speed of the airboat after 5? So that's the final velocity. That's the speed at this point. So that means kailangan natin ang speed at this point. That is starting from rest. So ibig sabihin, our initial velocity, isulat natin dito na lang muna. Our initial velocity, VI, is 0 meters per second because it is starting from rest. Okay, so we will apply the second law of motion. The formula for the second law of motion is summation of net force, or net force is equal to mass times acceleration. Ang hinahanap natin ngayon, acceleration. Sir, bakit second law of motion ang gagamitin natin dito? Because of course, ang hahanapin mo acceleration, law of acceleration. So do we have F net? Yes, kasi F net na yung nasa given natin. Do we have mass? Yes. So that means we can solve for the acceleration. So how are we going to solve for the acceleration? You just divide both sides by m, divided by m. So that gives us acceleration is equal to net force over m. Okay, and that is, of course, what is our net force? That is 7.70 times 10 to the power of 2 Newton divided by, what is the mass? The mass is 3.50 times 10 to the power of 2 kilograms. And that will give us an acceleration of 7.70 times 10 to the power of 2 divided by 3 2.50 times 10 to the power 2. That will give us 2.2. Of course, how many significant figures? Unit of acceleration is meters per second squared. Now we need 3 significant figures. So that means we have to round our answers to 3 significant figures. So our final answer for acceleration should be 2.20 2.20 meters per second squared. Okay, so this is already our acceleration. That is the acceleration of our boat. Okay, this is for letter A pala, no? For letter A. Now, let's proceed with letter B. Anong hinahanap natin sa letter B? We are looking for the final velocity. Now, since that is final velocity, so ibig sabihin, we will use the equations of kinematics, yung previous discussion natin. Ano-ano ba yung mga equations natin sa kinematics? Una, we have acceleration is equal to Vf minus Vi over time. Remember pa? We have 2AD is equal to Vf squared minus Vi squared. And then we have D is equal to VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Kasi law of acceleration. So, ibig sabihin, magagamit natin ito. Now, since we are asked for the final velocity, so identify natin ano na yung given natin. We already have acceleration, check. Hinahanap natin final velocity. Do we have initial velocity? Check. And do we have time? Check. So that means we will use this equation. We will use equation 1. So that's acceleration is equal to final velocity minus initial velocity over time. So that will give us final velocity is equal to initial velocity plus AT. Okay. Yun na yung equation natin for final velocity. Yun yung na-derive natin sa previous natin na discussion. So we have final velocity is equal to, what is our initial velocity? Our initial velocity is 0. So that can be disregarded. Acceleration is 2.20 meters per second squared times what is our time? Our time is 5.45. 5.45 seconds. Cancel. Cancel. So our final velocity is 2.20 times 5.45. That will give us 11.99 meters per second. But remember, we need 3 significant figures only. So that means our final answer should only contain 3 significant figures only. And that will give us 12.0 meters per seconds. Okay, so for the second law of motion, magagamit pa rin natin yung previous discussion natin sa kinematics. Kasi nga acceleration. Okay.